Hello, everyone. Today we'll finish this chapter about getting up in the morning. And we've learned some of these halachot before, but I found some of the sources to be extremely incredible and teaching. So, the practice of the pious minhag Hasidim is to begin with the right side in all matters because the Torah attributes more importance to one's right side, as in the ritual of sprinkling the blood of uh, Rabbi Melamed brings here the leper's guilt offering, but even if that never happened, in the inauguration of Aaron and his sons, they also did the right thumb and the big right toe. So I think that that's a better example. Also, it's a lot more positive. According to Kabbalah, right signifies loving kindness, chesed, and the left signifies judgment of din. By favoring the right, we help chesed overcome din. And if you remember, I mentioned that the women's shirts and also of the Hasidim, of the people who are pious, is to have the right cover the left in terms of the buttons. Thus, the scrupulous pious eat with their right hand, wash and anoint the right before the left, and put on the right sleeve, pant leg, and sock before the left. When bathing, they wash the head first because that takes priority, and then wash the right arm before the left arm and the right leg before the left leg. When getting undressed, they first remove the article from the left side, and that's teaching of the Gemara in Menachos. So first, let's see for the next halacha, which talks about tying shoes. Let's see the verses that talk about that. The first time that tefillin are mentioned in the Torah, which I think is incredible because the previous chapter, chapter 12, talks about smearing the blood on the doorposts, but afterwards in Parshat Shema and Vayam Shemua, first come the tefillin and then the mezuzah. Maybe because the blood wasn't really the mezuzah, it was just a sign that afterwards we're going to put the mezuzah. So when it talks about the tefillin, it says Vaya lecha leot al yadcha zikaron be'einecha, that it should be a sign for you on your on your hand or arm, and the zikaron be'einecha, and a memory between your eyes. And Rashi says on the left hand. Why is that? Because that is why the word written Yadcha in its full form, not Yadcha in the second section, which is in verse 16, it signifies that it's Yad Keha, meaning the weaker hand. And that's in the Gemara in Menachos. And so let's just look at that verse and then we'll go to the Gemara. So here it says Vayaleot Yadcha. Usually we would say Yadcha with the final chaf with a kamatz, but instead it's Yadcha, and the rabbis learned Yad Keha. They actually had one of the most fascinating conversations about this. Rav Ashi says Mi Yadcha Ktiv, the fact that there's an extra hey, behei Keha, and Rabbi Ava asking Rabbi Ashi, and this is strange to me because we're talking almost over 1,000 years after the mitzvah was given to Moshe. They did not know if it's supposed to be on the left or on the right. I don't have a good answer to this. Rav Ashi was one of the people who concluded the writing of the Talmud. And so Rabbi Abba asks Rav Ashi, "Ve'ema yadcha shebekoach?" Maybe yadcha means strength, and that's why there's an extra hey to signify that there's extra strength, and therefore to be the right. And he answered in a rhetorical question, Amar le mi ktiv bechet. It does not say yadcha bechet at the end, which I don't even know how to pronounce, but it says with a hey, and therefore we learn that it's a weaker sign. And the Gemara in Shabbos actually talks about shoes. One second, was there another paragraph here? Oh, so yeah, so they continued the discussion as if there's still a doubt. So Ketanai Yadcha Behei Zo small, Achirim Omer Yadcha Larabot Et Agidem, which means somebody who doesn't have a left arm. Uh, Tanya Idach, it's Patur, and Achirim Omrim again Yadcha Larabot Et Agidem, which means that you're supposed to, if somebody does not have a left arm, he should put on his right, and then iter, which means somebody who's a lefty, should put in his right, and then back to the left, and so that goes into the discussion of Shabbat. Shabbat tells us that Rabbi Yochanan says "Ketfilin kach minalin," the same way that we wear the tefillin on the left arm, so too we do the shoes. just like the tefillin, we do it on the left arm. So too, we start with the left. Obviously, we have two shoes. We start with the left shoe first, and then the rabbis said, "Meitive." This is a question. We have a braita that says. כשהוא נועל נועל של ימין ואחר כך נועל של שמאל, that he ties the right and then ties the left. And Rav Yosef says, Hashta Tane Achi. I think this is the most incredible answer ever, because a lot of people today, if you ask them which is more important, if there's opposing opinions, one says that you put on the left side first, and then one says that you put on the right first. Rav Yosef says, um, Haki v'amar Rabbi Yochanan Haki, and therefore, because the Brisa says so and Rabbi Yochanan says the opposite, the Avad Haki Avad or the Avad Haki Avad, meaning if you did it this way, it's okay, and if you did it this way, it's also okay. But the rabbis do not accept that. We don't want wishy-washy. We want to determine which one is important and which one is more accurate because of the shoes and the tefillin being connected to each other. So that's why Rabbi Melamed tells us what we do practically because of this very interesting back and forth. So, concerning shoes, the law is more complex. On the one hand, one should begin with the right side. On the other hand, we learn from the mitzvah of to tie tefillin on one's left arm that for all matters involving tying, one is to start with the left side. Therefore, one first puts on her shoes right before left without tying them, and when tying the laces, she starts with the left and then ties the right. Now, the most obvious question, which I'm surprised we never asked before, is, however, women are not obligated to put on tefillin, so maybe they should not be learning from the tefillin and just do the shoes the regular way and right first and then left first, and that's it. But Rabbi Melamed explains beautifully that the purpose of these practices is to ensure that everything we do, even a routine act like putting on shoes, is done mindfully and meticulously. After all, everyone puts on shoes every day, and if so, why shouldn't she do it in the most optimal way? Certainly, the order is not a sine qua non. One who puts her shoes on out of order needs not take them off to put them on again in the appropriate order. And so through these halachot, the sages teach us to attribute value to every act we perform. This allows us to grasp all the details of the actions that make up our lives more deeply. And therefore, back to the question about women not having to put on tefillin. So, concern. Oh, I saw it in the comments. Sorry. So, Halichot Beitah expresses uncertainty about whether women who do not put on tefillin need to ascribe importance to the left side when tying. In his Shashuei Tzvi, Rav Tzvi Pesach Frank writes that a woman may tie whichever side she prefers first. Even so, it seems that it is better that women also tie the left before the right, since the precedent from tefillin teaches that left precedes right in all matters of tying. So even though a woman is not obligated to put on tefillin, just like we say in Birkat Hamazon, that a woman who did not say in the second bracha, Val britcha shechatanta v'v'seinu, because women are involved in keeping the mitzvah of circumcision for their sons and for all of Am Yisrael, and therefore the halacha is just to review. With the shoes, we put on our right shoe first, then we put on our left shoe, then we tie the left shoe because tying is compared to tefillin, and then we tie our right shoe. But again, if somebody does it wrong, they do not have to reverse it, and especially a woman who does not wear tefillin does not have to take it off and do it all over again. We'll stop here and